Hi, everybody. Dennis Prager here with Otto. Some people have been writing, by the way, is Otto real? Because he's so still a fair amount of the time during these fireside chats that people wonder, is it just a model? Is it a sculpture? Is Otto stuffed? So I just thought, Otto, why don't you just there you go. I love this guy. He's special. What I love about him is he's very relaxed, and I love his disposition. Anyway, welcome to the Fireside Chat. So every week I get a chance to just talk to you. There is, with very rare exceptions, this is one of them. I will be using notes because I need some data. And I need to read to you specifically because of the topic that I'm going to address. But otherwise, it's always, including this, it's my thoughts spontaneously offered to you. No teleprompter, no rehearsal. And then I take your questions, and it's an honor to be with you. And thank you for watching and sharing. It's important that you share this with, not necessarily this one, any one of the 145 prior to this. They're very rarely dated. I speak in a way that I want something to be relevant 10 years from now, 50 years from now, as well as relevant at the moment. Anyway, this one is addressing an issue of the moment that is very, very, very disturbing to me, and that is the mockery of all doctors who believe that hydroxychloroquine and zinc, and the zinc part is very important, but that hydroxychloroquine and zinc can help people in the very earliest stages of COVID. I spoke to a doctor named Zelenko in New York on my radio show a number of times, who's treated over 1,000 patients with this, and he has COVID positive. And I think one or two, I don't know. I always want to understate rather than overstate. So I'll say one or two. I think it's one died, and that person had tremendous other issues in his life, like a heart condition or something like that. People who say better safe than sorry don't seem to apply it to hydroxychloroquine. Hydroxychloroquine is completely safe. It's been used for over 50 years. There are people who take it for decades. It is taken by anybody who goes to a place where there's malaria. And nothing happens. It's probably, in the final analysis, as safe as aspirin. I mean, you can't take aspirin. Nobody should take that much aspirin, for example. You could take a baby aspirin every day, but can take a regular aspirin even every day for many years. It will probably, I think it hurts your liver or your stomach. But this is very safe. Lupus, people suffering from lupus or rheumatoid arthritis have been taking it for decades. And as I said, for 50 years, there's no safety issue. On rare occasions, does it cause a heart arrhythmia? Yes, but on rare occasions, everything that you take, Tylenol, if you take Tylenol for that many years, you will hurt your liver. That's probably much more likely than this hurting your heart. The reason for the opposition, which is overwhelmingly on the left, is politics. It is that the hatred of Donald Trump, who recommended it early on, just mentioned it in a news conference that he heard it's helpful. This caused people who hate Donald Trump more than they love human beings to go crazy over the issue. It's hysteria. If you read my book, which is about the left, about America, and about Islamism, Still the Best Hope, I document 11 hysterias of the left. And we just got over one in the United States of Russian collusion with the Trump campaign. Turned out to be hysteria based on a lie. So we go from hysteria to hysteria. There's hysteria over global warming. I don't deny that the Earth is getting warmer. I don't deny that burning fossil fuels is an element in it. But I do deny that the Earth is coming to an end, that this is an existential threat to humanity that demands the radical reorientation of all of our economies. And especially, I know it's a phony issue because they don't recommend nuclear power. Nuclear power is not fossil-based, and it's extremely safe, and it works. Anyway, we're living through another hysteria, the hysteria over hydroxychloroquine. But what is going to be interesting, I do believe this. In fact, I live by it because I have been taking hydroxychloroquine and zinc as a prophylactic. In other words, I don't. If I get the disease, I will have this to block it. That is how much I believe in it. I'm not recommending something to others. I take it. It has had zero impact on me. I've taken it in the past when I've gone to malaria-infested places. You go to 130 countries, you're going to have to hit some places with malaria. It's unconscionable, the hysteria with regard to it. It's corrupted science. The two most prestigious journals, The Lancet in Britain and the New England Journal of Medicine in the United States, had to withdraw studies knocking hydroxychloroquine because they were so politically and economically inspired. I will come to that in a moment because the irony is the left really hates big pharma, their term for big pharmaceutical companies. But it's really, big pharma is really against hydroxychloroquine because hydroxychloroquine is unbelievably inexpensive. I mean, it's cheap. And it's like, what is it, $13 to get a prescription or something versus a few thousand for remdesivir, which is made by Gilead. And it turns out that some of these big doctors at these magazines had interest in Gilead. There's tremendous pressure on these magazines from pharmaceutical companies to get these studies out to knock hydroxychloroquine so that they get remdesivir. Interesting, no? The left prefers big pharma to Donald Trump. There is nothing they hate as much as Donald Trump. But it is so perverted, their ability to see reality, that it is, I do believe there is blood on the hands of all the doctors and all the media people who are keeping people in the early stages of COVID-19 from taking this drug. Blood on their hands. That's a big charge I'm making. And now the ridicule of the doctors who went to Washington and after 18 million views, I think it was it 18 million or 14 million? It was the largest number of views of something like that within a few hours. And then they took it off. Do you know that PragerU does not have a Twitter account? We have been banned from Twitter because we simply retweeted the news conference of these doctors. So you can't even have doctors. Some of them are ridiculed as fake doctors. I know two of them. These are real doctors. Some of them are great doctors. And I've gotten to know Simone Gold, who organized it. The woman is heroic and a magnificent emergency room surgeon. Remember the way they mocked the emergency room doctors from Bakersfield, California, who put out a video? That was also taken down. So in other words, it's not even, they say, oh, we're pro-science, but these are scientists. So a scientist who differs with other scientists is now taken down. These are the people who mock the medieval church for suppressing Galileo because Galileo said that the earth went around the sun. But Galileo was treated better by the church than these doctors have been treated by the left. The mockery of these people. Now, this Nigerian, Cameroon, West Africa. I've been to Cameroon. Cameroon is in West Africa. This Cameroon-born West African doctor who got her MD in Nigeria, and she's practicing in the United States, and she has saved lives with it. So she is mocked because of things that she said in a church sermon. What does that have to do with her scientific knowledge? What do I care what she says in her church? It is of no interest to me. I'm angry. I'm angry because people are dying because of the left. People are dying because of the New York Times, the Washington Post, and CNN. People are dying because of doctors who have decided to politicize science. I'm not for hydroxychloroquine because Donald Trump recommended it. Well, it's an absurdity. I'm for it because it works, because the data is overwhelming. All the studies that I have seen that have said that it doesn't work didn't use zinc, or used it too late to help people, or used it in too high a dosage. So let me read to you some stuff. I have some stuff here for you. So I'm going to do it in a little chronological order. The earliest one is from March 24th, New York Times, March 24th. States say some doctors stockpile trial coronavirus drugs for themselves. Wow, why would doctors be stockpiling it? And guess what the coronavirus drug is? Hydroxychloroquine. Doctors were hoarding it for themselves. But these doctors don't want to go public because they don't want their names ruined by the New York Times, Washington Post, and CNN, or the Daily Beast. Because all the left knows is to mock. It doesn't refute, it mocks. That's the motto of the left. We mock, we defame. Like America's defamed as racist, as systemically racist. That's all they can do is defame. There's no factual basis. Read my article on 5 arguments against America being racist. The very fact that they have to point to such trivia. Uncle Ben is taken off the rice package. Oh, that's racist. Aunt Jemima, that's racist. Look at the trivia that they have to go to. Washington Redskins, that's racist. Really? Do you know that 90% of Native Americans polled by the Washington Post, which hates the name Redskins, 90% said we don't give a hoot about the name Redskins. Half of them said we like it. Why wouldn't they like it? The Redskins is the name of a team of an Arizona Indian reservation. Their high school team is called the Redskins. They pick a racist name. Do you know why Indians have been picked, like the Cleveland Indians, the Atlanta Braves, the Seminoles of University of Florida? Do you know why? Is it the Seminoles or the Florida State? One of the two is the Seminoles. I don't want to get it mixed up because the University of Florida and Florida State hate each other. So I really don't want to get in trouble here with those of you in Florida. But the Seminoles, why are they picked? Because they were admired. You pick names of things that are brave. The Braves. It's all sick. We're living in an Orwellian time where north is south and south is north and 2 and 2 is 5. And you should believe that. In Seattle, they're telling people that objectivity is a white value, as if there's such a thing as a value based on color. But that's what they do. Objectivity, in other words, truth. The idea of objective truth is now dismissed as white. The African American Museum in Washington, D.C. actually put out a chart of white values. Being punctual was considered white. Delayed gratification was white. Every good trait that I know of. The nuclear family was called white. Isn't that amazing? If the Ku Klux Klan had put that out, it'd be called racist. So the doctors were hoarding it because they know it works. This is a real issue. Doctors are hoarding medications touted as possible coronavirus treatments by writing prescriptions for themselves. This is as early as March. And family members, according to pharmacy boards in states across the country. This is a real issue, and it is not some product of a few isolated bad apples, said Jay Campbell, executive director of the North Carolina Board of Pharmacy. Okay, just thought you ought to know that. This is from then. And yet, this is unprecedented. In an emergency meeting reported by the Columbus Dispatch, the Ohio Board of Pharmacy barred pharmacists from dispensing the drugs to treat the coronavirus unless a person had tested positive for the virus or the request had been approved directly by the pharmacy board's executive director. Since when do pharmacies tell doctors what they can prescribe? This is a first. Next, Times of India. India, the second largest country in the world in terms of population. More than half of the 10,000 policemen in Mumbai, biggest city in India, were to be given a prophylaxis drug meant to prevent COVID. In other words, they gave the police, because police come in contact with so many people, they gave them in India, and they do it, they're giving it to all their health workers. All the people in the front line in India are being given hydroxychloroquine. India doesn't care about Donald Trump. India doesn't care about the left and the right. India cares about saving lives. And it's working. You know where India ranks in deaths per million, which is the only statistic that matters? 94th. 94th. Listen to this. Dr. Capote, the man who was in charge, I guess, of the police there, said there was no mortality, not one death, among the 4,500 policemen who took hydroxychloroquine in Mumbai. Although some in the group have contracted COVID, they had a mild attack. Okay? You hear this stuff on CNN? Huh? Bet you don't. Daily Beast, report any of this? Truth is not a left-wing value. I've known that since I studied communism at the Russian Institute at Columbia University School of International Affairs. Truth is what the left says it is. That's why they're against the notion of objective truth. Objectivity is a white value. Just ask them in Seattle. Newsweek, July 23rd. The professor of epidemiology at the Yale School of Public Health. Is he a fake doctor too? Not a medical doctor. He's a professor of epidemiology. Maybe he's also an MD. I don't know. He's authored over 300 peer-reviewed publications. He holds senior positions on the editorial boards of several leading journals. All right? On May 27th, he writes in Newsweek, July 23rd, I published an article in the American Journal of Epidemiology. That's, I think, the most respected journal of epidemiology in the United States. Titled, Early Outpatient Treatment of Symptomatic High-Risk COVID-19 Patients That Should Be Ramped Up Immediately as Key to the Pandemic Crisis, unquote. That article, published in the world's, I didn't even know that, leading epidemiology journal, analyzed 5 studies demonstrating clear-cut and significant benefits to treated patients, plus other very large studies that showed the medication safely. Now listen to this. This will fascinate you. He gives an example of a Brazilian state. There are states in Brazil where they stopped, they didn't use hydroxychloroquine, and then they did use hydroxychloroquine, and as a result, the death rate started to plummet. It is now about 1/8 what it was at its peak. Listen to the Switzerland example. Switzerland. On May 27th, the Swiss national government banned outpatient use of hydroxychloroquine. Outpatient means that you're not in the hospital yet for COVID-19. Around June 10th, so that's 13 days later, COVID-19 deaths increased 4-fold. In 13 days after banning hydroxychloroquine outpatient use, 4 times as many people died of COVID-19. So on June 11th, one day later, the Swiss government revoked the ban. June 23rd, 12 days later, the death rate reverted to what it was beforehand. It went down 4 times. Read that in the Daily Beast. You hear that on CNN? Read that in the New York Times. Truth is not a left-wing value. Please understand that. There are liars on the left and liars on the right, truth tellers on the left and truth tellers on the right. I fully acknowledge that. But it is not a left-wing value truth. Truth is what the left says it is. There is no objective truth. Okay? You should read that piece in Newsweek. Finally, August 1st, Health Impact News. This is about one of the leading MDs in France, okay? Philippe Douste-Blazy, MD. He's a cardiologist of such high regard, so highly regarded. He is the former French health minister, okay? Can't get higher than that in France. He was the health minister of France. And he was Undersecretary General of the United Nations. He was their nominee to be the head of the World Health Organization. In a videotaped interview on May 24th, Dr. Douste Blazy provided insight into how a series of negative hydroxychloroquine studies got published in prestigious medical journals. He revealed, at a recent top-secret, closed-door meeting attended by experts only, the editors of the two most prestigious magazines medical magazines, The Lancet in England and the New England Journal of Medicine in the United States. The editors were there. Closed-door meeting. The closed-door meeting attended by experts only, the editors of those two expressed their exasperation, citing the pressures put on them by pharmaceutical companies. They both withdrew their negative studies of hydroxychloroquine. Did you know that? Under all the mockery of this doctor from Nigeria and the other doctors who were there, and the lies that they're not real doctors, you didn't read any of this, did you? He states, that is Dr. Douste Blazy, each of the editors used the word criminal to describe the erosion of science. But that's what the left and the pharmaceutical companies are doing to science on the hydroxychloroquine issue. By the way, there's a petition in France, 500,000 doctors and citizens urging the French government to permit physicians to prescribe hydroxychloroquine to treat coronavirus patients early. Interesting, but it's a left-wing government, so they know better. You say follow the science, you're not following the science. Okay? And there's a chart here from another website about the countries that use hydroxychloroquine, how low their rates of death are, and the countries that are banning it, how high their death rates are. Okay? That's the data. We should put up every one of these articles at PragerU. Yeah. Then they'll take us down again. But do you realize, oh, by the way, the censorship, that does not trouble you? That if you put up a video of what was it, 8 doctors, 10 doctors? How many doctors were there? Whatever, 8 or 10 doctors, whatever it was. Or like the video of the much earlier in the COVID crisis, the 2 emergency room physicians from Bakersfield, California, that was taken down. There was no interest on the left in science. There was interest in leftist ideology. I don't want to take down the anti-hydroxychloroquine doctors. I would never take them down because I'm conservative. I believe in free speech, especially among scientists. Since when do we determine science by majority rules? We take a vote? How many of you think the earth goes around the sun? Oh, okay, it goes around the sun. I mean, do you know how often scientists have been wrong in history? How often it's the minority that have been right? Is this our new rule thanks to the left in America? Thanks to the New York Times, Washington Post, and CNN? That we only listen to doctors whom we agree with? That's not science. That's ideology. Okay, go to your questions. Some of them are on hydroxy, and some of them are not. Like the opening video question. Here we go. What's our time, by the way?
24.
Yeah, well, it was worth it.
Oh, yes.
It's too important.
Oh, yes.
Okay, here we go.
Howdy dance, it's TJ Dearman from Jefferson, Georgia, member of Prager Force, 24 years old. My question's quite simple. What did you do to celebrate your birthday to show that we are all young at heart?
Well, I'll answer the young at heart thing. Age is a very interesting issue. So when I tell you that I don't feel any different than I did at 30, it probably sounds bizarre to you, like a cute line. So you'll either believe it or you won't believe it. But anyone who knows me from then knows I'm the same I have the same energy, the same love of life. I may have more energy. I mean, the amount that I do more now than I did at 30. That is clear. I'm blessed with very good health. I take care of myself. I work out. I take supplements that I think are helpful, like vitamin D and God knows what else. And I think it's all very helpful. I almost never get a cold. I'm blessed. I know it. I remember when I was 30, or I would meet people around my age, and I go, God, this person acts like an old man. It's like he's like a 30, but he doesn't have the energy or the love of life, the joie de vivre of a 30-year-old. And then you meet people who are 80 and they're totally on top of things. Look, the fact is, you may hate Donald Trump, but his energy is mind-boggling. It is just mind-boggling. And he is on top of a lot of stuff. He tweets some silly things, there's no question about it. But putting that aside, and yes, I can put that aside because I judge people by what they do, not what they tweet. And the man's a phenomenon. If you have your health and love of life, it doesn't matter what your age is. If you don't have your health and you don't have a love of life, it also doesn't matter what age is. And that's the way it is. So I'm blessed, and I know it, and I'm thankful to God and to luck. I think there is luck in life. Even though I believe in God, I do also believe there's luck. So much for that question. What did I do on my birthday? Well, it's an interesting thing to tell you. So instead of having as it were, a great time, I had a fine time. But I spent hours volunteering to raise funds. I pre-recorded as MC of a telethon for a Jewish group called Chabad. Chabad. They're a worldwide Jewish group. And I devoted my afternoon, hours, to doing that. And I thought, what is a better way to celebrate my birthday than doing something charitable? So it was a great birthday, as it turned out. But I'm happily married. I have wonderful children. I'm really blessed. I could almost tear up at how blessed I am. Okay. Do we have any time here?
Yes.
All right, Amanda, 20 years old, Arizona. Do you think the backlash behind the drug is purely political and attempt to discredit Trump's comments, or is it really useless in treating COVID-19 with widespread use? Well, I think I made that clear. Of course, it's politically inspired. It can't be idealistically inspired, because if you simply believe that there are so many doctors who believe or are sure it helps, why wouldn't you use it? If you have a loved one who has just been diagnosed with COVID-19, I don't care if the loved one is 40 or 80, you wouldn't give this? You have been that brainwashed? Something that it doesn't kill many, but it kills many over 80, but it kills very few at 30, obviously. But you wouldn't? You have been that poisoned by the left that you would deprive the loved one of this? Shame on you. Campbell, Maine, Prager Force student. Where are other areas of the world we have seen HCQ work during this pandemic, and how drastically has it benefited the countries that use it? I gave you the India example, and it shows this list. We'll put it up of the countries that banned it, how many died per million, not just in raw numbers, the ones that are using it, and how many fewer. Kate, 19, Cleveland. It turns out that HCQ works and saved tons of people, but the media tried to discredit the success rates, the doctors promoting it, and the countless other pieces of evidence. Should the media be punished? Well, the media are never punished. They lie the way you breathe. So they're never punished, because who's going to punish them? Other media? Is the New York Times going to punish CNN? Or CNN, the New York Times? Did they get punished for the lie about the Russian collusion with the Trump campaign? Did the New York Times ever get punished for denying that the Ukrainians were being systematically starved to death by Stalin? There's a new movie out, Mr. Jones it's called. Do you know the New York Times got a Pulitzer Prize for lying about the denying that there was a famine in Ukraine? 5 million Ukrainians starved to death deliberately. Read the book, The Red Famine. It's written by a liberal. It's not written by a conservative. The history of lying in major media. I mean, it's now a crisis, but it's not new. They never got punished. They got rewarded. But I think there is a good God. Keeps me sane, the belief that there is a good God who is just, and we all meet our Creator. All righty, everybody. Time?
Time.
It is. I wanted to get to this question from the girl from Lithuania. Next time. I can't promise, but I really want to. All right, my friends, this is pretty important stuff. I hope you show it to people who differ with you and who have bought the horribly immoral. I don't care if you disagree with hydroxychloroquine. There's room for disagreement. I have no problem with that. I have a problem with the mockery. I have a problem with the censorship. That's bad. That's evil. All right, sorry to leave you on such a note, but life is not always easy. I'm Dennis Prager. Thanks for being with me. On behalf of Otto, be well. Thank you for watching. If you'd like to keep these fireside chats free, please do by donating to PragerU.